Well, hang on. So like I said, we are going to start reviewing this review sheet. You already have most of it done. You might even have all of it done. There was just a few boxes that you skipped going over when I was not here. So I just want to fill them in. There are technically more than 4 factors that affect climate, but I already heard one of them. What's one? Latitude. So the location's latitude will determine its climate. What else? Elevation. T-I-O-N. Nearness to a body of water. Somewhere in that. Somewhere in there, yeah. And yes, ocean currents. Right, I see it. So latitude, elevation, nearness to a body of water, ocean currents. I want to also remind you about the topography, meaning the mountains, the orographic lifting. So technically we'll go with 5. And how does latitude affect climate? There's kind of 2 answers. Actually, there's one best answer, but I'm sure you're going to give me 2. Go boy. How does latitude affect climate?
Closer to the equator, cooler summer.
Higher latitude. Higher the latitude, which means the poles. In general, you're colder, yes. But I also want you to remember what Jake was saying, which is larger temperature range. Yeah. So the higher the latitude, that means you're far away from the equator. The larger the temperature range. And remember, that means the difference between the coldest days and the warmest days. What effect does being near a large body of water have on temperature range? Does it make the temperature range smaller or larger? If you're near a large body of water, it makes it smaller. Smaller. And why is this? Because locations near a large body of water have warmer what? Warmer winters and slightly cooler summers. Any large body of water. So a lake big enough to show up on the map or an ocean will all kind of regulate the temperatures, giving them warmer winters, cooler summers. Right off of your reference table, why don't you guys fill in these 3 blanks? ESRT. Page 4. So go ahead and fill in those blanks and then we'll go over them. I'm going to take attendance while you guys are doing that. All right, so probably the hardest part of these questions are finding the currents. The names of them do give you a hint at least. So if we're looking for the East Australian current, your best bet is to find Australia and look east of it, and you'll see we've got the black arrows, and black arrows, according to the key, are warm currents. So that's all I was looking for there. So East Australian is a warm ocean current. Your hint here is we are north equatorial. So that means you're slightly north of the equator. You can see again, those are black arrows. So they are the warm ocean currents. And the Peru current, maybe you know this, maybe you don't. That Peru is in South America. So that's your hint. Peru is right there. It's a block arrow. So that's a cool arrow. Or a cool ocean current. What? No, you guys already went over up until these ones right here. So you guys already went over with Mr. D, from the bottom, middle to the back. All right, how about this? The equator has blank pressure. I'm looking for high or low pressure. The 60 degrees, well, hang on. 60 degrees north has what kind of pressure? 30 south and 90 north. Where would you look for this? Because this is nothing you would know off the top of your head. Nope. Page 14. So the question is, so we've got latitudes and longitudes. So you look on the places you're familiar with latitude and longitude. Nothing about pressure on these maps. Nothing about pressure on either one of these maps. There's only one other map. Now this map also does, so the other map is here on page 14. It also doesn't tell us pressure, but what do we know about winds on this map? Winds always blow from high to low. So if you find, the first one asks for the equator. So the equator has heads of the arrows. So remember, they always go from the butts to the heads. And if the butts then are high, the heads must be low. So the equator has low pressure and it's labeled a wet climate. So the equator is low and wet. How about 60 north? It is low pressure and it is also wet. 30, what are we, 30 south has the butts of an arrow. So butts are what kind? They are high. And high and dry. Same with 90 north. Now 90 north is not labeled, but hopefully you remember 90 north is the North Pole. And it again has the butts, so that is high and dry. The last word is the windward and the leeward side of a mountain. So let me just refresh your memory. We have a mountain. The wind is going to come from one side. The windy side is the windward side. The other side is the leeward side. The windy side is, remember, the W stands for wet. So the windward side is the wet side. It's also going to be the cool side. So the windward side is usually cooler and more humid, which means wet. Are there any other boxes you didn't have filled in that you needed some help with? Just double checking. Again, I'm pretty sure Mr. D went over the rest of this review sheet on Monday. If you are watching this video, I'm sorry, on Friday, and if you're watching the video, I did record myself going over this on Monday's video. So it is there if you need it. So the rest of the review sheets on Monday if you don't have it. All right, so we are going to go ahead and play Kahoot.